All set? Ashita, Saket, are you there? I hope I am audible to you.
Yes, audible.
Okay, perfect. So I think we can begin with Divyank. Okay, Divyank has also joined. Perfect. Let me just instruct them to go live. Just give me a second. Okay? Yeah, Divyank and Saket, could you switch on your camera?
Yes.
Perfect. Let me just give the. Okay, I think we are.
Has stopped my video.
Okay, just a second. Let me. Yeah. Divyank, I think so. The access has been given to you. Could you switch it on?
It's still coming. I'm sending you a picture.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what's coming.
Yeah, we'll just get it sorted quickly. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can. Right? Perfect. So I think all set. Should we begin now?
Yeah.
Okay. So good morning, everyone. Lovely to meet you all on this Sunday morning. I hope that it isn't too early for all of you. I'm talking to all the students also, as well as the panelists. But looking at the kind of activities you all have been participating in, I feel that all of you are pretty active on a Sunday morning, right? So my name is Mandar, and I am the chief mentor for IMS Get Set Law. I graduated from NLIU Orissa in 2017. And today we have a very special session with three very brilliant and aspiring students from one of the premier institutes in India called NLIU Bhopal. So a lot of you requested us, sir, we want to hear from the students who are studying there. You want to hear from the students from all across the country studying in different law schools. So our IMS GSL Insight series is all about bringing such students and you all getting to know from the horse's mouth as to what the college is like, what has been their experience in law school. Right. So I have three speakers, three students from NLIU Bhopal who will share their experience today. And without wasting any more time, let me straight away dive into the discussion today. Could you all one by one introduce yourself? Could tell us in which year of law school you are studying in, which city do you come from, and why did you decide to go into law? Saket, if we could start with you.
Yes. Okay. I'm Saket Sharma, and I'm in second year, and I'm from Bhopal. And with law, I started preparing in my 12th grade, but it was not manageable with my boards, so I decided to take a drop after my 12th grade, and then I prepared again for that, and that. Hope I'm audible.
Yeah, Saket, you are. I think there was a little bit of disturbance, but you are. Please continue.
Yes. So after taking the drop year, I then I decided to prepare for CLAT, and because at that point the people in my family and other people were thinking that we are going to now and after little reading, doing doing BLLB honors would be the prepared. So.
Right. Saket, there seems to be some issue with the internet connection. If you could check it, but we'll go to other speakers and then we'll come back to you. Ashita, Yeah. We'll go to Ashita now.
Right, sorry, I couldn't. Right, my name is Ashita Mathur. I'm from Delhi and I'm pursuing a BA LLB optically. I'm in my first year. And I started preparing for CLAT when I was in beginning itself. And yeah, I just wanted to do law because it's always really interested me. Political science and in 11 started studying the constitution. That really stayed.
Right. Divyank,
I am Divyank Dewan. I'm from Delhi. So essentially, law has always been a field I've been interested in, and I think I decided I want to do law back in ninth itself, and I started preparing for CLAT in 11th, and yeah.
okay, great. So, are you all operating from the campuses? Have the campuses opened up,
Yeah,
or you're still
compulsory
operating
for
from?
all of us. So we're all yours.
Okay, all in the campuses. Great.
They're all on.
Sorry, Ashita, if you could repeat it.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, I just said that we're all on campus. Right?
All on campus. Perfect. So I just want to take you a little bit towards your school days when you were preparing for all of these entrances. You had certain notions about what law as a career is all about, right? Or what law schools would be like. You would have seen videos, you would have spoken to people from different NLUs, maybe your mentors. What similarities or differences do you find in that? In terms of what you thought law school would be like and what it is actually like when you're studying there. So how similar it has been in terms of your experience in law school?
So all in all of what I had heard, it is somewhat, certainly the campus life is much more fun than I imagined. But the academic pressure is obviously a lot more than any other, a lot more, it's relatively more than how colleges that I've heard of. But here we do have the correct support system, the way to function. We have amazing teachers. I think we have one of the finest professors in India here. But more or less, obviously, it is the academic pressure is a lot more than any other college, but it's fun and it's the process. You start enjoying it after a point, and that's the phase I'm in right now.
Right. Ashita, is it a similar experience for you, what you thought of law school? Because there are a lot of memes which come out. What we thought of was like we'll be something like Harvey Specter when we entered the law school, and now we are all into books all the day. We are in the library, or we are running here and there, participating in so many activities. So what kind of life do you have there?
It's when I school, I certainly like those things you see on TV. I knew it was gonna be. And right now, because it's such a small community on campus, so everyone basically knows. And because of that, I feel the academic pressure is just increased because you know the people you're technically. And right now, so we're basically entering exam season. And you can see how campus life changes during exams. And that's I'm not saying it's negative or a certain level of rush to see that.
I think Ashita dropped out. Carrying on from what she was saying itself, she was just talking about how we have this exams in another 2.5 weeks. And obviously, earlier everyone used to be around roaming in the sports complex. Now it's obviously changed a bit. People tend to stay in their rooms. Campus is not as lively as it was when we came here. And it's people are in the library. It's obviously changing a bit, but it's all just going to come back soon. And this is just the time again.
Right. I think during the exams, the only time where everybody meets and the campus is a little bit more cheerful is in the morning when you go towards the exam hall. When you end the exam, again go back to your rooms, it again goes into the same mode more or less. Saket, how were you thinking when you were a law aspirant preparing for law school, and what has been your experience till date?
So during my preparation also, from what I heard from people who were already who were
Saket, there seems to be some issue with the internet connection. Divyank and Ashita, are
a
you
lot
able to hear him? Because there seems to be some
I
issue.
think there is a sort of
people
Yeah.
are just
Yeah, Saket, if you could check it again, we'll come back to you,
try to
right? Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay.
Divyank, could you tell us a little bit
Try to
about the
fix
campus? Because a lot of law aspirants looking at these NLUs, the one thing that they're very excited about. So, what kind of campus is there in NLUs? What kind of facilities are provided to students? So, could you shed some light on that?
I think it's an amazing campus here. We come in, there's the beautiful library that's obviously the highlight of this campus here. We have one of the finest libraries in any law school, and it's where everyone goes to study most of the times. Around the library, we have a skywalk. There are amazing plantations here. It's a very, very green campus, and we have two hostels for the boys here. First and second years stay in a sharing room, and the third, fourth, fifth years have their own single rooms here. We have a canteen, we have a small stall, Nescafe, Amul, juice bar here. And there's a sports complex, a football field, tennis court, badminton court, basketball court. There's a gym, pool tables. So and I'd say that the in the hostels the food is pretty good. It's much better than what I had expected in the first place, and I believe it's an amazing campus, and it's much better than what I had expected in the first place.
Right. Ashita and I think Divyank also, both of you have come from outside. You're from Delhi, right? So what has been the transition like? Are you liking the city? Because a lot of students decide NLUs on the basis of which city they are in, right? A lot of students don't go into certain NLUs because they feel, you know, we don't want to go there. It's a very small city. So being from Delhi, going to Bhopal, what has been your experience? Ashita,
Obviously,
just a
there were
second.
there were
If
certain
Ashita could add, you can add to what Ashita says.
While definitely is different, but right now the thing is that most of the time we're on campus only, get a lot of time to explore the city. But when we do, it's all right, and it's not jarring or anything. It's just a city. And since we're on campus most of the time, and you're with people who are all over the country, it's an experience.
It's not a really good option, I believe. There were apprehensions for coming here, but I believe it's a beautiful city, and I think I'm enjoying the city also. And obviously, I won't deny there were a lot of apprehension before coming here, but I don't think it's a very good idea to choose an NLU on the basis of a city, especially when it's a college like NLIU. You shouldn't let it go just because the city probably isn't as good as Delhi, but it's extremely beautiful, and I think it's a wonderful city.
Right. Saket, what is a day like when you are in college? How does it begin? When are the classes? And what do you do generally in a day? Because you're in the second year, so you would have a little bit of more experience in terms of your law school life.
So I hope I'm audible.
Yeah, Saket, please continue.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically our day starts when we have classes from 9 to 1:30, and the breakfast starts at 8. So most people usually don't wake up in time for breakfast. And generally everyone is rushing to class at 9. Then 1:30 usually classes end, and we have 10 minutes break between classes generally. Then after that, as it is exam season, most people just have lunch as quickly as they can and they go to library. And most people are out there studying in library, or if people are not going to library, they're mostly studying in their rooms or taking a nap after class. And in evening also. The library is open till 12 a.m., which is pretty good. And due to that, a lot of people stay in library for till 12 a.m. And yeah, then the cycle repeats again the next day.
Right. So, Saket, we have generally seen that in all the NLUs, you have a lot of societies, whether it's moot court society, legal aid, cultural, sports, and literary, and so many other things, right? So, what kind of societies are there in NLIU, and from when can you participate or associate yourself with these societies and other things in college?
NLIU has a very big, it's a very big palette of societies. Like for every interest, you can find a society or a cell that you want to be a part of, which is very great. And as for the participation, I think from the first year only, you can start participating as a member. There's some process for induction in the cell, and after that you can join the cell. You can participate in their activities and contribute in it. There are a lot of societies about all the legal words. Like there is a moot court association which helps students participate in moots. Then there is an ADRC, which is for alternate dispute resolution. And like that, there are a lot of cells. Like I said, for every interest, you can find a cell and you can participate in it. There's also a legal aid cell. There's also a queer cell. And yeah, so the culture of societies and cells is pretty rich and it's very much student run. And so everything from every management, every event is student run, which is also a very good feature here.
Right. Have you participated in any of the societies or centers? And if you could share your experience, anybody, Ashita, Divyank, after Saket? Yeah, Saket, please continue.
Yes. Yes, so I'm a part of quite a lot of cells. I'm a part of EDRC, which is the alternate dispute resolution cell. It deals with mediation, negotiation, and all other out of court settlement processes. And I'm also part of legal aid clinic. So this is very good thing that we have a village nearby, and legal aid clinic, apart from the village also, it provides free legal aid to a lot of people who cannot afford litigation and they have disputes. So we provide them free legal aid, and uh, we help them in litigation processes also. Apart from that, I'm also the part of editorial board of Law Review, which is the NLIU ka law journal, which is also very popular in the legal world. There's also this blog CSIPR, which talks about intellectual property rights. I'm also the editorial part of the editorial board of that cell, and all these cells. The thing is, as I said, they're all student run. If you're like interested in editing, interested in writing articles, I think the law review and all these, there are a lot of other blogs also which are pretty good. You can be a part of these cells, you can apply for them. Then, and if you're interested in ADR, or if you're interested in litigation, you can apply for legal aid clinic. And in general also, if you just want to experience the ground level work that most people try to do to help people from marginalized communities to resolve their disputes, which they are not also aware of. A lot of legal jargons, they don't know how these things work. So it's a very good experience. I think it forms a major part of your law school life to be a part of these cells.
Right. Divyank and Ashita, both of you are in your first year. So, what has been your experience like associating yourself with all these centers and societies and the journals that the college might publish? Have you been able, like, have you participated in any of these activities in the first year?
So I'm a member of our cultural society, and so these cells, they have a lot of events going on. So even if you're not directly a member, it's voluntary. So there's always some sort of communication going on. Yeah, our cultural society has almost every month. And so it keeps you busy. Always something.
What sort of cultural activities are like which you people conduct
Cell basically
every?
has three society, society. So our literary society, we have events like literary slam, everything that it's not just law oriented. We also have activities and all.
Right, because at least in the cultural society and the sports, there should be no law. That has to be a rule in every NLUs, right? Because then everybody will be fed up of law everywhere in law school, right? Divyank, what has been your experience of participating?
I think in this manner, having a plethora of cells helps because we always have some event, something going on. Right now, we have a seminar going on in our college. There are people, there are professors who come here. It's just amazing. There's something that's always going on. Some event this weekend. We had a debating competition yesterday. We have a poetry slam tomorrow. We have a constitutional law quiz. There's always something that's going on. There's always something to do always. And because of these cells, there's obviously a cell I'm a part of which has given me a job to review a manuscript. So that's obviously a skill that's required as a lawyer. So being a part of these cells obviously helps me hone my skills, enjoy in college, and it's a great recreation and a learning experience at the same time, being a part of these cells.
Right. A lot of students and parents who come and meet me, maybe who are maybe in the 11th and 12th, they have sometimes mentioned, sir, it feels to us that law school is an extremely boring place. People are always into books, they go to library, they study, but they have nothing else to do, right? But after hearing from all of you, because I graduated 5 years back, so my experience may not be as raw as what you are sharing because you're already in law school. You are studying in law school in the first, second year. So participating in all of these activities, as you correctly said, it makes you who you are at the end of the day. It changes you as a person. It develops your personality. And law school in itself, apart from studying and apart from going to the library, as Saket, Ashita, and Divyank said, there are so many things that you do on a regular basis. It completely depends on your interest. If you're interested in a particular kind of activity, you have something to do there, whether you're interested in culture, sports, or as law reviews and other things that you all mentioned. That's a wonderful thing, right? Uh, Apart from law reviews and apart from essentially the academic part of what we do in law school, have you had experience in sports or other kinds of activities that you do in NLIU?
Certainly, we do have a very active sports community here. We have a football league going on, just had a cricket league, there's a badminton league, that's intra NLIU. And obviously, NLIU, we haven't hosted it due to COVID since the past 2 years, but we have Bhatodkar, which is the biggest sporting event in any NLU in India, that's hosted in NLIU. And there are a lot of sports that are played here. So the sporting community is extremely strong here, and as I told you, we have so many leagues going on, and obviously Bhatodkar is there. There's a sports committee too. Yeah.
Right. Saket, could you share your experience, and others can also join in after that, of participating in inter-college competitions or national competitions, whether it's debating, moot court? How do you think these things have helped you as part of your law school experience, and what was your experience like in general?
So in my first year, specifically, I participated in a lot of debating competitions, and that really helped me open up and like started forming arguments, starting to understand what should be the way of arguing. And just in itself, a lot of people have stage fear or just a fear of speaking up. And a lot of law school activities involve speaking. And as a career also, it involves a lot of speaking in front of people. And I think debating in itself really helps you to just overcome this barrier that you have of not being able to speak in public. And it certainly helps a lot in that sense. Other than that, I've also participated in some moot competitions and like moot court competitions. I think it's really something which a lot of aspirants discuss among themselves. They're very excited for it, and it's something which is an experience in itself. Like it cannot be said because you work for months for a single moot, and you prepare a written submission, you prepare a memorial, you prepare oral arguments, and then you deliver them. And so things like that are really helpful. They really make you understand that this is what you're supposed to do. This is how legal arguments are supposed to be made. And other than that, there are also a lot of competitions which do not involve speaking. Like you can participate in some writing competition, some essay writing competition. Like a lot of law schools host these competitions where you can write a legal essay, a legal article, and based on that there are prizes. And some law schools just have a memorial writing competition. Like you do not have to do oral rounds or anything. You just need to write a written submission based on a legal problem. So these things really help you to get so like not entirely involved in just the law school. You get to know people from other law schools, and you get an experience of, and you get to meet other legal students, other law students who are also going in the same field.
Right, correct. Wonderful. Ashita, any experience, although both of you are in the first year, have you had any experience of participating in some national or state level competitions?
So recently I participated in competition. It's a kind of alternate dispute competition. And it's really interesting to get to and interact with students. And normally all students have a network session. So just talk to them, and
Ashita,
not even just about
sorry for interrupting
not the
you.
kind of
There seems to be some issue with your internet connection, I think. Could you just check it once? We'll come back to you. Yeah. Divyank, what has been your experience?
So as they said, we do have a very, very good mooting culture here. I've also taken part in a couple of moots, and it's been a great experience. Certainly, the support we have, and with such a good mooting history, and that's been coming down. So we have very good guidance here. Like I can obviously go up to anyone and ask for help, and that's something I really, really appreciate here. And we do have a lot of opportunities that are coming up, and obviously so many moots that are here. I've even taken part in a mediation competition, and I have a debate going on right now. So it's going on really, really. It's with the opportunities here. I think it's pretty easy to take part in something if you're interested in it, and I think I'd love to keep doing that for the rest of my time here. It's
Right.
obviously like I think Saket has taken part in some of the most prestigious ADR competitions in the world. And even Ashita won the award of the best mooter in her past moot. So certainly this culture, it has a very, very good mooting culture.
Wonderful. Ashita, I hope I'm audible to you now. Yeah.
I audible.
Yeah, Ashita. Again, there seems to be some issue, but you can continue.
I just saying the same thing that you said. There's great mood culture here. Basically, everybody at any see they're either preparing for some preparing. So the challenge is the way you train a mood itself. Sometimes you make some other. So there's always something.
Right. Wonderful. What has been your experience with your seniors? Because seniors in law school, they generally tend to help you at every stage because you're new, you do not know with respect to internships and others. So what has been your interaction? How open it is in law schools, and especially in your law school? Saket, if you could start.
Yes. So there's this culture that seniors who are very readily available to help you in any case. So for example, like we're talking about moots and ADR. So if you're preparing for a competition and you know someone from say a senior year who has done it before, and so you can go and ask them to mentor you, and they will, in most cases, they will be very helpful and be very willing to help you. And the thing is, most law schools, especially NLIU, is very student run. A lot of activities that happen here are done by students. So for this, whenever a new batch comes and whenever people come to law school, they need to be taught this. They need to understand how to mood and how to organize these events. So seniors here are very helpful. They really put efforts in helping you. And for example, like you're doing an ADR competition and there will be a mentor assigned to you who has done competitions before, who will mentor you and teach you how are you supposed to do mediation, how are you supposed to do negotiation, or how are you supposed to mood, what should be the language when you're writing written submissions, things like that. And in general, also the interaction is pretty positive. A lot of people are here to help you, and they also understand that you need their help. So it's just sort of this relationship where they want to help and you need their help. So it's pretty smooth in most cases.
Right. Divyank and Ashita, you are in the first year. Did you get your freshers this year? Or
Yeah.
COVID took it away, like for many of your
But our
predecessors? You did, right? So
Yeah.
what has been your experience of interacting with your seniors?
I think since it's such a small community, and Ashita also said, it's somewhat that the interacting with seniors is obviously, since there are just 120 people in a batch, we know a lot of seniors around, and obviously, if you want to go for help, if anyone needs help, it's obviously very easy to approach them. So I think that's a merit here. Great merit.
Right.
Are extremely approachable, very helpful. And if you're doing a competition, they're the ones who will mentor you, prep. And it's not just for competition. In general, life is on what you should do, study exams and all. Any same, then same, they'll all be ready.
Right, right. Wonderful. So I'll now go into your ambitions as to what do you intend to do and what kind of experience you are getting in law school. So what has been your internship experience like, if you have done any internship before? So where did you do your internship? What was your experience like? And also, what do you plan on doing? If you've thought of it right now, you can, of course, share that experience with us. Saket, we'll begin with you.
Yes. So in terms of internship, so what most people do in their first and second year is that they try at ground level. They intern in district courts and they intern under advocates and they try to find with like hit and trial that which field suits them best. And I think that's the best way to cross out your options or at least narrow it down to know what you want to do. And there's really no pressure for you to we just know that this is what I'm supposed to do, that I want to be a corporate lawyer, that I want to go in litigation from your first year itself. I think mostly people should go and try to like do an internship in district court and find out how things go on there. Then they can try in second year, maybe they can try for a high court and maybe intern under some advocate, some senior advocate in high court or Supreme Court. And after that, when you have gained experience, then you can apply for law firms and other places that you might want to intern in. And like when you have this whole and very complete internship experience, like when you have really tried to explore most of the legal world and you have tried to find out that which place suits you best, that is the best way to go about it, in my opinion at least. And so for first and second year, we don't really have any, so we have to get internships on our own. We need to apply, we need to approach people, and then we get internships. And since third to fifth year, there's a placement coordination committee which helps you get internships. And so
Right.
this is very good. This is a very good feature.
Right. Saket, what has been your experience of interning? Where have you interned, if you could tell us?
I have not interned yet, and I was thinking that I will intern in the next break that is coming after second year. Due to COVID, actually, it was not possible to intern at the ground level in my first year because mostly everything was online, everything was happening online. So it was pretty hard that time. So, and as it's the first time, like we are also in campus the second year, like we also came just as the first year came to campus. And so right now I'm thinking that after this, the semester ends, after we are done with our exams, and in the summer break, I'll intern somewhere and try to do what I've been told.
Right. Have you given it a thought as to what do you wish to do in future?
I have thought about it. I've explored options. I've talked to seniors that what is the best way to go about it. And honestly, as I said, that there's really no pressure on you to like just know in which line you're going. And I think in like fourth, fifth year, when you are near graduation, that's when you should actually you should like consider where you're going. You should have uh, you should have experience in the field that you're trying to do. In at least first year and in second year, you can play with it. You can try out all your options and think that is this the field for me, or is this not the field for me?
Right, correct. Divyank, Ashita, were you able to intern? Because I think your first year will just end, I suppose, or your uh, right. So have you interned anywhere, and what are you thinking of the future? Have you given it a thought as to what do you plan on pursuing in future?
So I'll be interning during the break that's coming. That'll be my first intern. Say much about it. But right now we're just encouraged to
And where do you
get
plan on
different.
interning, Ashita?
Right now I'll be interning a insolvency firm.
Okay. And have you given it a thought as to what do you wish to do in future? Have you decided, or it's a
Right now
process?
we're basically right now, since we're encouraged to look at options first and then decide, since it's not really possible to figure out without experiencing it first. Right now I'm just looking.
Correct. Right. Divyank?
I'm interning with an NGO right now, and as you know, with IMS itself, and even I haven't obviously I've given a thought about what I want to do. I have evaluated my options, but eventually what I end up thinking is that I want to explore all the fields first, and that's what I'll be trying to do for some time. I'll try to intern in a district court, try to understand the workings, and that's when I'll take a decision, because obviously I'm in my first year. I do have some time left. I have evaluated my options, but I'm still yet to finalize it. I will exactly what I said. I'll just try to weigh out all the options and then take the choice.
Right, correct. Because a lot of students who are in their 11th and 12th, when they interact with me, they tell me, sir, we want to be corporate lawyers or we want to be judges. They had already decided, right? And when I ask them, "Achha, how did you decide?" So their answer is either, sir, we have seen suits, or somebody in our family is a lawyer or a judge, so we decided we'll go that way, right? But my suggestion is exactly the way that you have put it, that it's good to explore all the options, because law schools generally give you that opportunity that you can study 40 subjects and then you can decide, okay, this is something I genuinely like and I would want to pursue that in future, right? So I think that's wonderful that you're thinking about it, that you're exploring all the options rather than just deciding something in the first year itself and then continuing it, right? Wonderful. In the last leg, I wish to talk to you about your CLAT preparation, although it's a little old for all of you now. But what would be your tips to students who are preparing for law entrances this year or planning to give it this year in June? What should they focus on? How they should concentrate on their studies? All of that, if you could shed some light on.
Essentially, CLAT is now more of a reading based test. You need to develop your reading skills instead of obviously working on, our CLAT paper last year did not have a single analytical reasoning question. So yeah, we need to, one needs to work on their reading skills. And for that, I think reading, and working on the comprehension skill. Like I solved GMAT comprehensions to work on because I wasn't able to concentrate and read for 1 hour, 1 hour, 50 minutes, 2 hours, the span, because I left 10 minutes for maths. So 1 hour, 50 minutes, that is a skill. If one develops that skill of focusing and reading something for 1 hour, 50 minutes, that, and I think working on the verbal reasoning, these are the only two skills that you mainly need for CLAT. GK is obviously something you need to prepare, but for English, legal aptitude now also does not depend on your legal acumen as such. It's mainly dependent on your verbal reasoning. It's an inference-based section now. So English, legal reasoning, and logical reasoning. 3 sections depend on your comprehension skills and how you infer things. So these 2 skills are extremely important. Obviously, GK needs preparation. For that, I think News Canvas is a great source. I use that, and obviously IMS provides great material. I refer to that, and certainly some students make a mistake of giving mocks every day, which is something that's strongly discouraged, because if you end up giving a mock every day, you spend 2 hours on a mock and obviously 3 to 4 hours analyzing it. And if someone is not analyzing a mock properly, then I think there is no point in giving a mock, because analyzing a mock is extremely important, because that is how you find out where you're going wrong. If you just give a mock, essentially you're just practicing everything, and lets you get a score of 105 and you got 15 questions wrong. You don't know whether you got those 15 questions wrong. That's essentially why we give a mock. We need to know where we are lacking. And when you give them, let's say, this is another mistake a lot of people make, and I used to in my early days. I used to leave the passage I did not attempt. I did not even bother analyzing it. What should be done is, if you've left a passage, which obviously is a very, very advisable thing to do, leaving something you can't figure out for the end, because CLAT does not have sectional timing. It's an overall paper, and you just need to focus on that. Just solve that section, solve everything possible. There is a detailed solution that's given in every IMS mock too, and any other mock that's there. You have a detailed solution to every answer, to every question, and an explanation that's provided. All the questions in a mock should be analyzed. After it's done, all questions should be seen, analyzed, and read. During the mock, again, one should work out the sections in their own way. Everyone has different requirements. I used to give 8 minutes to maths, and people used to ask me how I used to figure out 3 passages. But that's because I used to solve them pretty fast, but I needed some extra time with verbal reasoning, logical reasoning. It's what I remember. So that depends from person to person. A friend of mine used to spend 21 minutes on maths. So it's obviously that varies from person to person, and one has to decide that by giving mocks. And another mistake that no aspirant should make is not giving enough offline mocks. Offline mocks are extremely important, because if you start that OMR sheet, if you spend, this is a tactic, this is something even I took time to figure out. If you spend 4 seconds marking an OMR bubble, and if you're attempting, let's say, even 120 questions, it turns out to 120 to 4 is 480 seconds, which is essentially 8 minutes. And in a 2 hours paper, 8 minutes is huge. It's huge. 8 minutes can change. It's a matter of, I think, 1,000 ranks here. 8 minutes does matter in a 2-hour exam like CLAT. So essentially what I believe is these are the main tips, and working on English and verbal reasoning is extremely important, especially with the CLAT new pattern.
Right. So what did you do to figure out the OMR issue, Divyank?
I started giving, because with us, there was a confusion if CLAT's going to be online or offline. CLAT 2020 was online, and Saket gave that. He must remember it's online. So back in April 1st, when CLAT was announced in May, for the first announcement was announced in December 2020, CLAT was offline. So my mentor told me then itself that I should start practicing offline mocks. So I had an upper hand with that. I started practicing offline mocks back in January, but then CLAT was announced and there was a rumor that it'd be online. So then I made the mistake of giving online mocks. But since I had a lot of practice beforehand, I started giving offline mocks again back in June. Then CLAT was announced again in July, 23rd July was the date. So I did figure out the OMR thing quickly, because I was in the practice. I had the practice of marking it quickly, and that comes with giving offline mocks. Giving offline mocks is extremely important, because reading on a screen and reading on a paper is vastly different.
Right. Saket, how did you tackle GK especially? Because yours, I think, was the first batch in the new CLAT pattern. So specifically in GK and legal, what was your strategy?
So as Divyank said, that the paper was mostly based on your reading, and even the sections that were provided in GK were very were related to contemporary issues. So I think my problem with GK was also that I was not able to mug up these many facts and keep them in my mind. And so what I did was I really made a daily revision schedule. So as a people are advised to read newspapers. So in a similar way, I try to read newspaper every day. So what happens with that is you don't need to you mug it up. You don't need to remember facts because it becomes a story. Like every day, for example, some judgment came and that's given in the news. Next day, you'll get a follow up. Then maybe a week later, there will be some other development in that field. So that way you remember it as a story instead of just facts of things that have happened. So I think that's a good way for preparing for GK, and also that whenever you're reading newspaper, you should make notes of whatever the important things that have happened. And when I'm talking about legal reasoning, so in like for example, the Hindu, there's the editorial section, and these things generally cover things about legal world or things like that. So I don't think anyone should skip the editorial part of the newspaper, especially when the CLAT is this reading based and involves this much reading and comprehension skills. Those editorial sections, just like reading two a day, really helps you start comprehending legal texts, which are like even if your comprehension skill is high in, for example, some other things, if you're reading novels and all, your comprehension is high, the language of legal text is pretty different from what you usually see in when usual reading materials in which you see. So I think that reading that is pretty important. And other than that, there are a lot of websites which have legal articles, and SCC Online has a lot of articles. There's a lot of the website like BCC Online. All these websites have articles related to legal words, and they are constantly updated also. So I think people should go and read those articles and try to comprehend what they're trying to say, because in that way you'll understand the language that is generally used when in terms of legal writing. And other advice I'd like to give is that you should read daily. I don't think there should be a day that you should not read these texts, and uh, you should not work on your comprehension skills. For example, when I was preparing for CLAT, it was the first time the pattern changed from the 200 question pattern and went to the very reading comprehension heavy model. And so to adapt to that, we read GMAT problems a lot. So for reasoning questions, the GMAT had questions which were taken to CLAT also. Like the same questions were asked in CLAT exams. So I think GMAT books should be solved, and they really help you increase your legal reasoning and even your logical reasoning also. Like you try to understand the logics of arguments, and you are able to figure it out more. And as lot of paper, like barring the GK section, is based on how much you understand the paragraph that is in front of you. And so for that, you really need to have a hold of as many variants, as many spheres you can get a basic idea of. For example, in English section, if there's a paragraph related to some very scientific niche topic, and you don't know how scientific writings are written, so it will take you time to adapt to that sort of writing. And as that is very different from what we usually see, so it's very important that people read as many things as possible and as many different uh, fields as possible, so they have a basic idea of how the writing is in these fields. So at that, whenever they're giving a paper or a mock, they're not shocked and not completely dumbfounded as to what is written, and they're not even trying able to comprehend. So
Right. Thank you so much, Saket. Ashmita, what was your experience of writing CLAT, and what would be your advice to the students?
So for CLAT, I basically found that all I needed was a good strategy for attempting that. There's such paucity of time to each section you'd start. Like I found useful that I taking up heavy sections, some GK and maths, and so like exhaust your little bit of breaks, you can attempt some question, couple of seconds at most. As long as you have a good strategy you can practice out in box itself. See what works. And apart from that, for GK, I found, of course, reading everyday books. But also, if you can pick up a habit of some monthly magazine or anything that will give you, like I reading national, and in that I found a lot of facts like geography, history, and those cover your basics. If there's any magazine to pick up, any subscription, that will also help.
Right. So thank you so much, Ashita. Thank you so much, Divyank and Saket, for taking out the time and sharing your wonderful experience of studying in NLIU Bhopal. All the best to all three of you, and I hope that you will reach new heights in future and you will pursue your interests in future. Thanks again. It was wonderful having you today. Thanks to all the students also who were joining us and listening to all of them. If you have any questions, feel free to put it in the YouTube chat section, YouTube comment section. Like the video and feel free to tell us what other NLUs you would want to hear from. We will definitely invite some of the students, and that will be of great help to all of you. So thanks again. Goodbye, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you.